Good evening, my friends. This is the Grimflayer. Hope you're all doing well. We're back here to finish up this league. We are 3-1 after a disappointing loss to a very good matchup for us, which is Infect. We took that loss in the last round. Yeah, I'll let you watch the video. It's the preceding video if you have not yet seen it and if you're interested, but we did drop that very winnable match, unfortunately, which takes us out of the running for a 5-0. But the good news is we're still live for the 4-1, and even if we cannot pull that off, we'll still have gone positive. So no matter how you look at it, this league has been at least a decent success, and we hope to make it a resounding success by taking the win here, going 4-1. If you haven't seen the earlier videos in this league, I am playing the list I've been running for the last few weeks with Dark Confidant. The only change is that I've got one of my Lily the Last Hopes has been moved to the side, and in her place, one of the Nile Spellbombs from the side has come into the main. So we're got just a very minor hedge against the Faithless Looting decks of the format. Of course, we haven't really been running into those. We've played Counters Company, Titan Shift, Burn, and Infect, and who will we play around 5? Well, let's find out. Any day now, MTGO, any day. Yeah, we won the die roll. Alrighty. I mean, no green sources is a little awkward, but I think this is a definite keep. Yeah, this hand's great in every other way, basically. If one of these was a Blooming Marsh, it would be completely amazing. Lead off on our Inquisition. Okay, this is Eldrazi and Taxes. Okay, so they basically have 3/3-drop Eldrazi and a Path to Exile. We're not going to take that path. Might not really matter what we take, because we're probably just going to double Thoughtseize next turn and take the other two, but just in case it does matter, what do we care about more? Wasteland Strangler is going to kill some things in our deck, probably not the Tarmogoyf by the time we get to play it, but it's a good one, and then Eldrazi Displacer gets to bounce. I think I'm supposed to take away the Stranglers here, but again, it might not particularly matter. They play out the Caves. We draw Blooming Marsh. Sweet. Well, I think I'm supposed to play the Tarmogoyf here. If they want to path it, they can path it. We, of course, never mind the first path very much. And, like, holding off these Thoughtseizes is actually kind of a feel-good moment as well, because the scarier top-end stuff has not been cited yet, right? Thought-Knot, Seer, Reality Smasher, things like this. You know, these black-white Eldrazi techs, they're not Eldrazi-tron. They don't necessarily play as high a density of the huge payoff cards. Ooh, Tide Hollow Sculler, okay. But still, doesn't hurt to kind of hold off on the Thoughtseizes for potentially some higher demand stuff, but yep, there goes the Fatal Push as expected, so Abrupt Decay, that's a nice draw. That is a nice draw. So we will, of course, begin by Thoughtseizing. So they just have a couple Ghost Quarters, Path, Displacer, Strangler. Okay, I don't care about the Displacer. I don't even really care about the Strangler quite yet, anyway. Am I just supposed to take this path to exile? I think I might be. Think maybe I'm at the point where I just kind of want to ride this Tarmogoyf to victory, so I'm going to take the path. We'll decay this thing. Get artifact and instant in the yard. We just got instant with path, but either way, the Goyf is nice and big. Alright, so no matter what, we're going to have a Thoughtseize target next turn unless they strip that out of our hand somehow. Displacer, sure. Ooh, Tireless Tracker, huh? Well, I think we still just Thoughtseize. Tracker will just die to a Wasteland Strangler. Ooh, okay. Well, they've got another one, sure. And we do have a Fatal Push. Of course, no Revolt quite yet, so just keep the clock rolling. They're down to 9. Feels good. Of course, Fetch Land would be pretty much the best draw next turn. It would let us make 2 clues, play the tracker, make 2 clues, push something. Yep. Okay, looks like they're not interested in trying to set up a double block next turn. I've got to wonder what they drew. Thalia. Yep. I think just in terms of keeping my clock going, I'm supposed to be mana efficient here and push her, clear the way for my attack. This thing can also blank interaction, and it cannot quite yet because they only have 2 mana. But once they have 3 mana free, this Fatal Push might not be quite so easy to hit something with. So for all of those reasons, I think we're supposed to push there. Scavenging Ooze. All right, well. Okay, they're down to 5. You may put a card an opponent owns from exile into the opponent's graveyard. I don't have anything in exile. So that is just a 3/2 bear right now. So I guess that makes me want to play the Ooze. Of course, if they draw like Path to Exile, that'd be pretty bad. They can Path the Goyf and then hit our Ooze, but I think we're supposed to play out something there. The Ooze is my pick over Tireless Tracker. You could make an argument for Tracker, I suppose, being more mana efficient. The Ooze is not that great here right now, is it? With only 1 green source on the field, unfortunately, but yeah, no blocks here. Surprising attack, but Lingering Souls. Okay. Well, at least we can eat the back half of that with the Ooze. Assassin's Trophy, huh? Very awkward. Very awkward here with our mana situation. A second green source would be amazing on so many levels. Yeah, these things can chump the Goyf for way too long. So we'll eat the back half of that. Are they really willing to go to 1 if I send both in? I don't think I'm going to send both in. Maybe I should, though. If they go to 1, the Caves of Kolios of colored mana shut off. Yeah, I'm going to send both in. I don't know how good this ooze is really going to be for us with only 1 green source. Very risky for them to double block the ooze here and then get blown out by a fatal push as well. They're gonna do it. Alright, they called my bluff. That's still kind of fine with me, honestly. Keep turning this thing sideways, yep. Now what? Oh, nothing? That's a little worrisome. That's a little worrisome. Did they finally have a path to exile, huh? That might be the draw. That might be the draw. Well, first things first is we will attack and find out, I guess. Okay. So if I respond to this with Trophy, they don't... This ability doesn't resolve, right? Wait a minute. Well, oh, oh man, that's a little embarrassing. They exiled my Goyf. I misread that. I should have taken my time there, but honestly, hitting that thing with Trophy is just fine anyway. And yeah, at this point, we're just going to play out our cards. Whoops, I just misread those newfangled icons. I don't know what difference that would have made. There's an argument for playing the Trophy there anyway, and in fact a very strong argument, because we don't want to let them keep creatures on board at this stage of the game. They're going to struggle to 1-for-1 the Tarmogoyf, right? So that's a big thing, and also all of their tricks in response to removal. All of these things are reasons why it just does not make sense to, like, sometimes we just have to, like, main phase our stuff, just kill things as they show up, right? So, okay, well, Collective Brutality is a good card. That's a good card. There's nothing they can have here, right? So I guess we'll just train them for 2 in case they do have something. Keep our card in hand. But they've got to just be dead here. We did it. We did it, we did it. Despite misreading the triggered ability, or the activated ability, excuse me, of Eldrazi Displacer, we did it. So this is a type of matchup where we want a little bit of everything, in my opinion. We want just a little bit of everything. We want to keep access to some hand disruption. We want a lot of answers. We want a lot of threats, because they kind of do a little bit of everything too. And going all in on just one type of interaction is not that profitable. So, Kitchen Finks is a card that I think we like. It doesn't line up particularly well against Path, but besides that, you know, if they're trying to play Blink tricks, we'll get a lot of value. It can tangle with their stuff while being recursive, so I do like the Finks. Love Maelstrom Pulse. I don't necessarily think we're that interested in this stuff. Most of their things are out of reach of EE. I don't know how much they use the graveyard, probably not much at all. They seem to pull from exile more than the graveyard, and Graph Digger's Cage, you know, I'm trying to think. just Lingering Souls, basically, which, granted, that's a real Magic card, but yeah, so with Lingering Souls, we might want to revisit some of this stuff, actually. all 4 of these are live against Souls, but what else do we like? Collective Brutality is kind of medium. I like Languish way better than that. I like Lily the Last Hope here. She can buy some things back. She can play some defense against their mid-size stuff. She can kill Thalia. I think we're treating this like a mid-range matchup more than anything else, but wanting to retain access to some number of discard spells, right? So I like to hedge it slightly in favor of Thoughtseize, but not completely. Because they do play some 4 and 5 drops, but our life total matters as well, and they are more concentrated around the 3-drop slot. Everything else we're playing here is fine. Like I said, Brutality's kind of medium, but honestly, I like this setup a lot. We've raised the curve a lot, though. So do we just kind of peel back on something from the top end? Maybe this second Last Hope is not that necessary. Let's do something like that. I'm gonna do some conservative sideboarding here, and then maybe we'll revisit it for Game 3 if there is one. I left in 1 Spell Bomb, just the 1 Spell Bomb as a hedge against Lingering Souls, basically. Opponent will keep 7. Yeah, our hand's pretty sweet. We'll keep it. We will happily keep. Shambling Vent, okay. Interesting decision here. I guess we'll shock. Leave our basics in the deck and all that good stuff, but Fetch Shock Thoughtseize is very painful. Should go without saying that it is very painful, and our deck does not have to do it very often, right? So, feels bad when we do. They have Arbiter, but no Ghost Quarter, okay? So that's the first thing to check. They can't go GQing us out of the game quite yet. We also don't have any fetches to worry about. I think we have a million answers to this Tide Hollow Sculler, and we might not care all that much about the Rest in Peace, at least quite yet. So, do we just take the Flicker Wisp? It's either Sculler or Flicker Wisp. Maybe we just take the Sculler, actually. I don't know, it's a strange hand. Without a Vile, Flicker Wisp is a lot less scary, right? So let's just slow him down. We'll just take away the Tide Hollow Sculler. Again, we have a lot of answers to it, that's true. But they play out their Rest in Peace instead of the Arbiter. Fine with me. Lily the Last Hope, looking a little worse with that Rest in Peace out there, but we'll make do. Of course, one of the reasons we don't care that much about their RIP is because we have the Maelstrom Pulse to hit it. Eldrazi Displacer. That's a bit annoying that this cannot be pushed quite yet, but land is our best draw for a million different reasons right now. Twilight Mire will do it. Twilight Mire will do it. So we could just simply pulse away the Displacer, which is not bad. It just keeps us going, basically. Keeps everything chugging along. We could play Lily the Last Hope and use her to kind of keep stalling out the board. We cannot obtain Revolt yet, so a double spell turn is not on the cards. So the big question is, how much do we care about this Rest in Peace? I'm going to say that we can beat it. I'm going to say we can beat the RIP, so I am just going to pulse away the Displacer. We'll see how it goes for us, but that is my call. We've got a handful of gas. Wouldn't mind another land off the top. Of course, Tracker would be great next turn. And yeah, with no Ether Vial, these things like Flicker Wisp are, you know, not the most appealing. It's still a little scary if they, the prospect of them ripping a Ghost Quarter and going Arbiter into GQ. And why did I say that out loud? Oh, that's rough. That is bad. But at least we can just kill the Arbiter. We can just kill the Arbiter now. And of course we have to. I think I'd rather just be mana efficient, kill it with Brutality. I'll escalate here, pitching a Tarmogoyf, because we drew a second one and they're dead at least for now with the RIP. But I think I'm just going to drain them instead of spot checking the hand. We know they have a Flicker Wisp and one unknown. I don't think it's likely that we have a hit there, so yep. Kill your thing, drain you for 2. All right. So they've got a lot of good rips they can have here, that's for sure. Eldrazi Displacer is a fine one. Nile Spellbomb, huh? Okay, so we're going to play out the Spellbomb, and then I think we're just going to pass. We could look for the high reward play, which would be to crack it and cantrip now, and then if we draw an untapped black land, we get to make our land drop for turn and Fatal Push that thing. But I think I'd rather have a higher chance, at least. I can't say make sure, because our other land is mono green, but I think I would rather have a higher chance of making that sequence work. And we'll take the hit for 3. It's not great, but that Arbiter was rough. Thought-Knots here. Oh boy. Okay, so we've got to respond to his trigger. We've got to just throw away the Spellbomb. I think that's the play here. So we're gonna Spellbomb an empty yard. It's bad. And then we'll push. So we'll get to draw a Dark Confidant, okay. I mean, potentially decent. They might just take it here. No matter what they take, we want to see a land, basically. Yep, there goes Bob. Makes sense. Alright, land into Liliana would be great. Please and thank you. Beautiful. Alright, my life total's low enough that I'm just going to get a swamp here. Alright, Liliana just has to play some defense for us. Would have been nice in a different world if they'd had to play out that Flicker Wisp and then we get to just come down and cleanly kill it, but 'twas not to be. Alright, she's going to be buying us some reasonable time here, it appears. Their mighty Eldrazi is reduced to a 1/2, and that 1 damage has to go at her, not at us. Once again, the land would have been wonderful there, but I think we just have to finish off that Displacer. This is another target creature, right? Yeah. Good. Okay, we can do it. The question is, do we escalate to throw away this Tarmogoyf? I don't think so. I don't think that's worth it here. Like, the first one we threw was fine, but here I'm just gonna hang on to it. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I don't know. But okay, we did it. Believe they know about both of these cards, so I will just F6. Liliana putting in a good day's work. Not sure what they can really have here that they're not playing out, but, I mean, maybe they have some removal spells sitting in hand. Obviously, that Flicker Wisp is not very appealing quite yet. Take our Lily up, and Fetch Land is good. If they've got removal, we'll see it here. Unless it's Fatal Push, then maybe they can't hit her, but yeah, Tireless Tracker, take it away. And in case they do have a Path to Exile, we're gonna play around that. Yeah, so we'll respond to the path here. Make sure we get our second clue. Alright, Tracker, good job. You got us land and 2 clues. Alright, we're in a fine position here. We're in a fine position. The big problem is has become this Rest in Peace in a way, because we can't get the Tarmogoyf going. Doesn't matter. Too much value for them to beat. They'll scoop it up. GG. Alright. Alright, my friends, we did it. We got the 4-1, and ooh, it's so tilting. Our one loss was to our most favorable matchup, which is Infect. But we took down Counter's Company, we took down Titan Shift, we took down Naya Burn, we lost to Infect, and we took down Black-White Eldrazi, or more commonly called Eldrazi and Taxes. Feels good, man. So we get our play points back, and let's open the chests up, shall we? Well, that's not how you do it. Yeah, that was a fun game. We definitely had that Arbiter into GQ sequence was the big stumbling block there for us, but we ended up making it all okay with some decent top decks and some decent sequencing. So, treasure chest time. I don't know if people care to see this. Let me know in the comments below. Obviously, it's if you've seen my videos, it's the first time I've done this. Memoricide. Alright, there's got to be a way to make these, to zoom in on these. No? Yes, no, maybe so. There we go. Choose a non-land card name. Search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of these cards. Okay, it's an extraction effect. Sweet. Bardic Wanderer. Yeah, baby. Cool. What else have you got for us, MTGO? Inspiring Statuary. That's a cute one. Bombard and Sonic Assault. Alright, well, not exactly setting the world on fire so far, but we got 2 more to go. Pyroblast. Yep. Ooh, this is a cool mythic. Aethersworn Adjudicator. This is like a one of these creatures that has so many abilities and such utility that they're kind of like a planeswalker. This is like the Esper Kalidas. It's pretty solid. Destroy target creature enchantment, so it's a repeatable Mortify. That's a 4/4 flyer. and can untap itself to repeat attacks or repeat Mortify. That's pretty sweet. And a new Guilds of Ravnica card. Okay. Last, but almost by definition not least, we have won some play points, and we've won a Loyal Unicorn. That just warms my heart. That's just a heartwarming, like, I now have a Loyal Unicorn just cheering me on every single match I play from now on. I've got the Loyal Unicorn on my side, moral support, so I love it. Alright, cool. So yeah, let's do a little wrap-up of the league, I guess. That might be a fun thing to do here. So, like I said, this is the... Excuse me. This is the list that I did the deck tech on, that I've been playing for the last few weeks now. Just maining a Spellbomb and siding a Lily the Last Hope. That's the only difference. So, what was really nice over the course of our leagues? Well, in the Counters Company matchup, Kalidas was completely amazing, and our one of Lily the Last Hope in Game 1 was completely amazing. I was fortunate to see her. All of our interaction was good, but as far as permanence went, those were the two standouts. And honorable mention to stuff like Lily of the Veil, where if you have Kalidas or Lily the Last Hope doing work, often she's just kind of another spell, like, that synergizes well with them, that on top of everything else, she sticks around, and she's just yet another thing that even if she's not great, like, she wasn't obviously too great against their massive board of, like, 7 mana dorks, and things like that against Counters Company, she's still just a little bit better than she looks, simply by virtue of the fact that she sticks around, and she can do it again in 2 turns if the game goes that way, right? But, you know, Lily, the Last Hope, and Kalidas were wonderful in that matchup for sure. Obviously, the 1 mana interaction really shines there, too. And I remember Dark Confidant, I believe, putting in some work. Against Titan Shift, Titan Shift, I guess, discard spells, especially Thoughtseize, really pulled their weight. Field of Ruin was, I don't think, a factor, but struggling to remember that match. Basically, I just, our opponent mulled pretty low and didn't really put the combo together, and we just kind of turned things sideways. Actually, who was the MVP in those matchups, or one of them at least, was Tarmogoyf. I believe I had an early Tarmogoyf both games, and of course the clock is paramount against Titan Shift. Against Burn, if you haven't seen that Burn matchup, I'd advise you to watch it. They were 3 really unusual games, and we lost the first one, but in the second game, the MVPs were the Manlands, because we had just a series of really mediocre spells that just, like, barely kept us in the game but weren't really getting us anywhere. But the game went so long and we traded resources so well that the Manlands, Quagmire, and Treetop ended up finishing the game. And also, Fulminator Mage and Field of Ruin were really clutch there too, because I took them off of their splash colors, which is how we won that game. And then final game against Burn, it was the usual suspects, Kitchen Finks, Collective Brutality. Like, the actual good cards against Burn, we found them, they shone. That was pretty much that. I don't know if I have an MVP against Infect, because I lost the series, I lost the match, but let's give it maybe to Liliana of the Veil, because Game 3, when I mulled down to 5 and kept a 1-lander with a 1-land being Field of Ruin, we actually almost won the game, and we could easily have won it if we just didn't brick for so long in the late game. I think we drew 4 straight dead top decks, basically, or almost dead. And a big reason why we were able to stay in that game for as long as we did was using Liliana of the Veil. She was just awesome there. And of course, the game we won, we did a little bit of everything. I think we had Field of Ruin involved, discard involved, removal involved, and a clock. Obviously that was just kind of a textbook Golgari game, but yeah, let's give the MVP of that to Lily of the Veil. And then in the match you just witnessed, well, we kind of did a little bit of everything there too. In this Game 2, Lily the Last Hope, who I neglected to bring a second copy of in, and whose -2 is completely dead under the Rest in Peace, she was just still really clutch for slowing them down, for combining with Collective Brutality to kill a 3/3, and then of course Tireless Tracker just put it over the top and made them scoop. So that was all good, and then game 1, Tarmogoyf backed up by Interaction. None of their stuff was ever quite big enough to tangle with the Goyf, and there we go. So after that quick refresher of the league, what do we think about this 75 and how it's positioned in the current meta? Well, I kind of like it. This decision sure didn't pay off. I didn't run into a single Faithless Looting deck. Very little graveyard interaction at all on the other side of the table, but it grows the Tarmogoyf. It's a 2-mana cantrip that's like the floor of the card, so it's never that bad. And of course, with a sample size of 5, I don't think we can say that it's wrong to main deck spell bombs or anything like that, but this didn't really come up, right? It just didn't really come up. So we're looking at the rest of the list, and yeah, I still like this split of 1-1-3. Of course, I want access to more of all of these because they're amazing, but slots are just at a premium. Dark Confidant still continues to feel right to me as simply a 3 of. I don't know what we would take out if we wanted a 4th. I will say, though, that I have fully warmed to Bob. For those who haven't heard me talk about this before, a big part of the reason why I was drawn to the 4-tracker 2 Taziger 25 land list when I first picked up Golgari was I came to Golgari from Abzan. And I came from traditional Abzan, and I was new to the archetype when that's my first BGX deck. So maybe obviously there's no maybe about it. I was not as skilled as I am now. I was not as knowledgeable. I was not as experienced. Bob ended up obviously stealing a lot of games and winning a lot of games, but he was a feel-bad card, specifically in Abzan for me, a little bit too much of the time. This was the period of time where Lingering Souls started being less good in the meta when Death Shadow kind of fell off the top spot. So, you're against these increasing amount of aggro decks, and you've got a Bob flipping over a Lingering Souls. You take 3, Souls doesn't even really line up well against what they're doing, The deck, and then the pain of the mana base, the deck just felt clunky, it felt wrong, it felt like we were spreading ourselves too thin. We were overcomplicating things. So I went completely away from that by going away from Bob, as well as by doing the other things of trimming down to 2 colors and all the other things that come with playing straight Golgari. So you can understand why the Taziger build appealed more to me than the Bob build did. And I still think Taziger is completely viable. I still think that build is completely viable. However, I'm really warming to you, Bob. I'm really warming to you. To the point where I want to play a 4th one? Still not quite yet. Still, I think this is a really nice, the 3-3 split of these different advantage engines. Being able to do stuff like main deck Kalitas or Spellbomb, certainly I think one of those would have to make way if I wanted a 4th Bob. But yeah, I really like just 3 for now. And we didn't get to use the Graveyard Hate too much. I don't think there was any match where I felt like I didn't have enough to bring in. I'm starting to almost feel that way against control decks, and it's not even that I don't have enough, it's that the things that I have are not quite good enough. That's the type of matchup where I almost just want to play a 4th Tireless Tracker in the side. But if I'm doing that, maybe I just want 4 Bob 2 Tracker main and then a 3rd one in the side. I don't know. It would feel weird to play the 4th Tracker above the 4th Bob in a way. Anyway, that might be a project for next month's update, or for future iterations of the deck. But I don't think we really lacked we don't have the most impressive cards to bring in against Burn. We did see that this league, but our 2-color deck lines up fairly well against Burn without the changes, and we do have enough things to bring in that we can take out Bobs and Thoughtseizes, so I think that's fine. Yeah, so I guess that's the league wrap-up. There's not much that really stood out to me after this league, or during this league, for that matter, that is, oh, this needs to go, or oh, we really need access to more of this. I think we're onto something, fellas. I think we've got a really nice 75 here, so let me know what you think about that here or elsewhere, as always. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this final match of the league, putting us at the 4-1 finish, and I hope you enjoyed all of the matches taken together as a whole. So, as always, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate the views, and I really appreciate the support. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can follow the link in the description below to my Patreon page. I would dearly appreciate it. The more support I can get for this channel, the more time and money I can sink into it, and I can start, accommodating people's requests a little bit more directly, perhaps. But, yeah. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks again for watching. Exciting times. We got the 4-1. Feels great. And we did it while I was commentating, which, as you have seen in a time or two, does lower my standard of play, perhaps just a tad. But still good enough for the 4-1. We'll definitely take it. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned to the channel. I will see you for the next video, and I hope you have a great night. Talk to you soon.